Welcome to the Deep Dive. Today we're diving into The Power of Your Subconscious Mind by Dr. Joseph Murphy.
Oh yeah, I've heard of this one.
It's all about this idea that our subconscious mind, it's incredibly powerful. And if we just understood how it works,
Right.
we could achieve almost anything,
Yeah.
overcome challenges and stuff.
Like I'm intrigued.
Yeah, and we're going to go through the core principles in this deep dive
Okay.
and look at how it can be applied in real life.
Yeah.
And of course, every book has its criticisms, so we're going to look at those too.
Okay. Sounds good.
Sure.
What I think is so interesting about this book is how he describes the subconscious mind. Like, it's this supercomputer
Oh,
that's
wow.
constantly being programmed by our thoughts and beliefs and habits.
It really makes you think about the impact of what we're thinking
Yeah, for sure.
on our actual lives. So it's like we're just on autopilot
Right.
with all this subconscious programming running. But how do we even figure out what kind of programming we're dealing with?
Right.
Where does this programming even come from?
Well, a lot of it comes from our experiences, right? And all the messages we've received throughout our lives.
Uh-huh.
But the thing is, the subconscious mind doesn't differentiate
Oh.
between what's real and what we just imagine.
Really?
Yeah. So both positive and negative thoughts can impact our reality.
Hold on. So you're saying that just by thinking about something, we can make it happen? That sounds a little too good to be true.
Well, it's not quite that simple,
Okay.
but Dr. Murphy has all these interesting examples of people using their subconscious to do amazing things,
Like what?
like healing illnesses,
No.
finding love, attracting wealth,
Whoa.
just by changing their thought patterns.
That's crazy. There's this quote from the book
Okay.
that really stood out to me. He says, your subconscious mind has the answer to all problems.
Mm-hmm.
If you suggest to it that your headache is disappearing, it will obey. A pretty bold statement.
Oh, yeah.
Are we really giving our subconscious enough credit
Exactly.
for how much it affects our lives?
It really highlights the potential we all have. But it's not just about,
Yeah.
wishing things into existence. Dr. Murphy says we have to understand how our minds work.
Okay.
And then we can use techniques to tap into the power of the subconscious.
So that's where all those practical techniques come in?
Yeah.
Like affirmations?
Yes.
And visualizations?
Yes.
And even using sleep to program our subconscious.
Exactly. Those are tools for influencing the subconscious mind, like giving it instructions. Take affirmations, for example.
Okay.
It's about repeating positive statements to shift those deep-seated beliefs. And the cool thing is,
Yeah.
there's a psychological reason why this might actually work.
What is it?
It's called the self-fulfilling prophecy,
Okay.
basically. Our beliefs influence our actions, which then lead to outcomes that reinforce those beliefs.
Okay, so someone who wants to feel more confident, would they just repeat something like,
Right.
I am confident and capable over and over?
Exactly.
But isn't that just tricking yourself? Are we just fooling our minds into believing something that's not true?
That's a good question. It's not about fooling yourself.
Okay.
It's more about consciously choosing to focus on the good parts of yourself and your abilities. When you consistently feed your subconscious mind these good messages, you're essentially rewiring those pathways, making it easier to actually embody those qualities.
I see, I'm starting to get it. It's like you're planting seeds in your subconscious garden.
Yeah.
And then nurturing them with positive self-talk. But what about visualization? How does picturing yourself achieving a goal actually help you get there?
So this technique might actually be using the power of our brain's mirror neurons.
Mirror neurons.
Yeah, these neurons fire not only when we do something, but also when we watch someone else do it. So when you imagine yourself achieving your goals, you're basically training your brain for success.
That's fascinating. So it's like mental rehearsal for real life.
Right.
But I'm still a little skeptical. Is there any actual evidence for this? Or are we just talking about anecdotal stories?
Well, Dr. Murphy does share a lot of stories,
Yeah.
like the one about Sarah,
Okay.
who used visualization to get over her fear of public speaking.
Really?
Yeah, she imagined herself giving a successful presentation every night before bed. And after a couple of months, she aced a big presentation at work and even got a promotion.
That's awesome.
But there is some scientific evidence
All right.
suggesting that visualization can actually impact our performance and even our physical state.
That's pretty amazing. So it sounds like this book is telling us to be more careful about what we're feeding our subconscious minds,
Yes.
both consciously and unconsciously. But I bet some people are critical of these ideas.
Right.
I mean, is this all just wishful thinking?
Yeah. Some people argue that the book is too simple about the power of the subconscious and that it's more like magical thinking than a practical approach to self-improvement.
Right.
And they also say that action is important.
Okay.
That just wishing for things without actually doing anything won't get you results.
So it's not about replacing action with positive thinking, but more about using positive thinking to help us take action.
Exactly.
And make our efforts even better.
What's insightful about the book is the focus on mindset. Dr. Murphy says that our subconscious beliefs shape how we see things and our resilience, and that can really affect our outcomes.
So it's not about pretending that challenges don't exist. It's more about choosing to approach those challenges with a better, more optimistic mindset.
You got it. And that can make a huge difference in how we deal with life's ups and downs.
But our mindset is the foundation, and then we build our actions on top of that. So if we're starting from like negativity and self-doubt, it's going to be way harder to reach our goals.
Exactly. It's like building a house on quicksand. You need a solid foundation of belief and positive self-talk
to support our efforts. So this brings us back to the practical techniques that Dr. Murphy talks about.
Yeah.
I'm curious how we can actually use these ideas in our everyday lives.
Well, the book has this really cool 3-step process to get started.
Okay.
It's surprisingly simple, but that doesn't mean it's not powerful.
I'm all ears. Lay it on me. What's the first step?
Step 1 is all about starting your day with affirmations.
Okay.
Dr. Murphy says to spend like 5 minutes each morning repeating positive statements to yourself.
Like what?
Things like, I am abundant, or good things flow to me easily.
I've heard of affirmations before, but I always thought they were kind of cheesy. But I guess if they're tapping into the subconscious, maybe there's more to it. Why start the day with affirmations?
Well, the idea is that by like intentionally feeding your subconscious mind these positive messages first things, you're setting the tone for the whole day.
Okay.
You're telling your mind to look for opportunities and to be more positive when facing challenges.
So it's like a pep talk for your subconscious.
Exactly.
Before you even get out of bed. I can see how that could be helpful. All right, what's step 2?
Step 2 is visualization.
Okay.
Especially right before you fall asleep. Dr. Murphy says to imagine your goals as if you've already achieved them.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
Because we were saying earlier
Yeah.
how the subconscious is more receptive when we're relaxed.
Right.
So it's like sneaking those positive images in there
Exactly.
when our guard is down.
And by visualizing over and over, we're giving our subconscious a plan to follow.
I like that. Planting those seeds of success
Mm-hmm.
and then letting them grow while we sleep. Okay, so we have morning affirmations and evening visualizations. What's the last step in this cheat sheet?
Step 3 is all about negative self-talk.
Oh boy.
Dr. Murphy says it's so important to notice those negative thoughts that pop up throughout the day and to consciously replace them with positive affirmations.
You know, this might actually be the hardest step. We're so busy with our own thoughts that we don't even realize how negative they can be. It's like we have this inner critic just constantly putting us down.
It takes practice to become more aware of our thoughts. But the key is to start paying attention to those negative patterns and then challenge them. Don't let those thoughts run wild. We can choose to replace them with positive and encouraging ones.
So if you catch yourself thinking, I'm never going to be able to do this.
Yeah.
You could try to change that thought to, I'm learning and growing.
Exactly.
Or I could achieve anything I set my mind to.
It's about reframing our thoughts to support our goals instead of holding us back.
It's like training a muscle.
Yeah.
The more we do it, the stronger we get
at
controlling our inner voice. It sounds like these 3 steps all work together to create this positive feedback loop. We start the day with affirmations, reinforce those beliefs with visualizations before bed, and then all day long we're working on replacing those negative thoughts with more empowering ones.
That's a great way to put it. It's about making a conscious effort to shift our mindset to one that helps us grow and feel good.
Let's be real though. Do these techniques actually work? Or are they just like a placebo effect? I mean, if it were that easy, wouldn't everyone be living their dream life?
Well, like any self-help technique, there are no guarantees.
Okay.
And you should be a little skeptical. But what's cool about this book is that it encourages us to see things differently, to be more aware of the thoughts we're having, and to choose thoughts that empower us rather than limit us.
So even if we don't get everything we visualize,
Yeah.
just becoming more aware of our thoughts
Right.
and choosing to focus on the good can have a big impact on how we feel overall.
Absolutely. Even small changes in our thinking can make a difference in our emotions, our behavior, and our experiences.
So it's not about pretending everything's perfect. It's more about facing challenges.
With resilience.
Right.
And a resourceful mindset.
Exactly. It's about realizing that we have more control than we think we do. We can be victims of our circumstances, or we can choose to be in charge of our own lives.
I like that. The architects of our own lives. It sounds empowering.
It is. And it starts with recognizing how powerful our subconscious minds are, and then using that power to create the lives we want.
It all goes back to that supercomputer analogy. We get to choose what we program into it.
Exactly. And like any powerful tool, it can be used for good or bad. The more we learn about how our minds work, the better we can use that power to create the lives we want.
So as we wrap up our deep dive into the power of your subconscious mind, what are some of the key things you want listeners to remember?
I think the most important thing is to realize how powerful the subconscious mind is, and that we can learn to use it.
It's not just some mystical idea.
Right.
It's a real part of our minds
Yeah.
that affects our thoughts and feelings and actions.
Yeah, every single day. And this book gives us a way to understand it and some techniques we can try. And it's not just about getting rich or successful, right?
No, not at all. These ideas can be used in every part of our lives,
Oh, wow.
from our relationships to overcoming fears to being more creative, even our physical health.
It's about recognizing that our thoughts and beliefs are powerful, and then choosing to focus on the ones that help us grow.
Exactly. It's about being the architects of our own lives.
I love that. It really sums up what we've been talking about.
It's an empowering message. We can all create positive change by understanding and working with our subconscious minds.
So if our subconscious mind is so powerful, what's one challenge you would encourage listeners to try and tackle?
That's a good question. I would say think about something in your life where you feel stuck.
Okay.
Maybe it's a fear you want to get over, or a bad habit, or a goal you've been struggling with.
And then use some of the techniques we've discussed,
Right.
like affirmations and visualization, and replacing negative self-talk with positive thoughts,
Exactly. See what works for you.
like a journey
It is.
of self-discovery. It's exciting to think about what's possible when we start to tap into the power of our subconscious minds.
Absolutely. And remember, it's a process. It takes time and effort to change those deep-seated patterns. But if you're persistent and willing to explore, you might just find a hidden potential within yourself that you never knew you had.
That's a great way to end this. Thank you so much for joining us.
It's been my pleasure.
To all our listeners out there, keep exploring, keep learning, and keep believing in the power of your own mind. Until next time, happy diving.